bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself,
Broadcasting to bring you this emergency action notification. This is a global emergency. Important piece of information to follow.
Before the flood, God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
The Bible tells us that God looked upon his creation, and behold, it was all corrupt. For all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. Judgment Day had finally come. the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is on the earth shall die.
After the flood, and after Noah and his sons and their wives went forth from the ark, there was a man begotten by his grandson Cush, whose name was Nimrod. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, which means confusion. The name Nimrod means rebellion. Nimrod was a rebel against God, and as the leader of the kingdom of Babel, Nimrod was also connected with the building of the Tower of Babel. And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven." According to the historian Josephus, Nimrod said he would be revenged on God if he should have a mind to drown the world again, for that he would build a tower too high for the waters to reach, and that he would avenge himself on God for destroying their forefathers.
Their ruin is accomplished because they have learned all the secrets of the fallen angels, all the violence of the devil and his cohorts and all their powers, the most secret ones, and all the power of those who practice sorcery, the power of witchcraft, and the power of those who make molten images for the whole earth. So what did the fallen angels reveal to man that was so bad? And I want to explain this so that we have a clearer picture as to what went down. An entire global civilization had completely fallen due to a certain knowledge. A world destroyed. And we're still holding on to their secret.
And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways.
Brother against brother. Nation against nation. Man against creation. We murdered each other. We broke the world. We did this. Man did this. Everything that was beautiful. Everything that was good. We shattered. The average high school graduate reads at a 6th grade level. Your basketball players making 30
really cool. Take a picture.
Yeah, pose.
Did you take it?
Wait. It's on video. Hold on.
Oh, wait, look. Oh, did you see that?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. No. We gotta go.
Chapter 18. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, and mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more.
You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? Matrix. Do you want to know what it is?
There is a plot in the country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot. 7 days later, he died. The stuff that's going on around us today just doesn't make any sense. And as we go through this presentation, you'll start to realize why it doesn't make any sense. And that all of this is not by accident. That all of this misery and strife in the world today is actually by design.
My name is Montague William III, and what I will tell you may well sound absurd, but the less who believe it, the better for me. For you see, I'm in banking and big industry. For many a year we have controlled your lives, while you all just struggle and suffer in strife. We created the things that you don't really need, your sports cars and fashions and plasma TVs. I remember it clearly how all this begun. Family secrets from father to son. Inherited knowledge that gives me the edge, while you people lie sleeping at night in your beds. We control the money that controls your lives. Whilst you worship false idols and wouldn't think twice about selling your souls for a place in the sun. These things that won't matter when your time is done. But as long as they're there to control the masses, I just sit back and consider my assets, safe in the knowledge that I have it all, while you common people are losing your jobs. You see, I just hold you in utter contempt. But the smile on my face, well, it makes me exempt. For I have the weapon of global TV, which gives us connection and invites empathy. You would really believe that we look out for you, while we bankers and brokers are only a few. But if you saw that, you'd take back the power. Hence, daily terrors to make you all cower. The panics, the crashes, the wars, and the illness that keep you from finding your spiritual wholeness. We rig the game, and we buy out both sides to keep you enslaved in your pitiful lives. So, go out and work as your body clock fades. And when it's all over, a few years from the grave, you'll look back on all this, and just then you'll see that your life was nothing, a mere fantasy. There are very few things that we don't now control. To have lawyers and police force was always a goal, doing our bidding while you march on the street. But they never realize that they're only just sheep. For real power resides in the hands of a few. You voted for parties. What more could you do? But what you don't know is they're one and the same. Old Gordon has passed good old David the reins, and you'll follow the leader who was put there by you. But your blood, it runs red, while our blood runs blue. But you simply don't see it's all part of the game. Another distraction, like money and fame. Get ready for wars in the name of the free, vaccinations for illness that will never be, the assault on your children's impressionable minds, and a microchipped world. You'll put up no fight. Information suppression will keep you in tow. Depopulation of peasants was always our goal. But eugenics was not what we hoped it would be. Oh yes, it was us that funded Nazis. But as long as we own all the media too, what's really happening does not concern you. So just go on watching your plasma TV, and the world will be run by the ones you can't see.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave.
Why is the world divided like this? It is not by accident. All of this is by very meticulously planned action. It is all done by design through the control systems that run our world. All you got to do at all times is follow the money. You'll get to the top and discover the Rothschild banking empire and their cronies, the banking families, and what is often referred to as the royal political elite. These families that control the world did not suddenly come into power in the last 100 years. We're talking about thousands of years of royal bloodline control of the world. The Rothschilds and the other banking families pretty much own all the central banks of the world. This is a shock to the system. The central banks of the world, like the Federal Bank of America, the Bank of England, the South African Reserve Bank, the Reserve Bank of Australia, India, Brazil, all the central banks of all the countries of the world do not belong to the people. They are owned private entities that are controlled and owned by the Rothschild banking empire. And they set the norms, the rules, and the financial policies for the countries. And they lend money to the countries, the governments and the presidents and the prime ministers and the ruling parties of the different countries. And this is why we are constantly trapped in a cycle of debt, because the banks that print our money do not belong to its people. What is money really? Well, money is just an idea. It's It's a piece of paper. It's a tool of enslavement. And what you will learn here is that money is not something that evolved over thousands of years of bartering and trading as a tool that can help humanity prosper. No, it's exactly the opposite. Money was a tool of enslavement that was conjured up a long time ago and introduced as a complete and whole philosophy and a tool of enslavement. It's just a piece of paper that controls our lives. It burns and disappears. Where did money come from? How did money originate? Very few people are actually aware of this. Well, about 6,000 years ago, the first money appeared in the form of clay tablets. This is during the Sumerian Empire. Well, the Sumerian texts tell us about when money first appeared and also when the first royal bloodlines first appeared. And we find the emergence of the first kings, or the so-called first priest kings. And it just so happens that these first priest kings that appeared out of the blue on earth suddenly created all the banks, they created their temples, and in their temples they started to print these clay tablets, which became the first forms of money. So in essence, the temples of these first kings that appeared on earth were the first banks from which the first forms of money were distributed to the people. And nothing has changed in thousands of years. This is really important. So, what if I told you that banks create money out of thin air? Would you be surprised? Well, that's exactly what happens. They have nothing. Money is absolutely useless. It is a piece of paper. It has no backing, and this is why it's called fiat currency. Fiat money. It means nothing. It is valueless. It has no value. The only reason it has value is because we, the people, think it has value, and it's given to us as a piece of paper that has some sort of value, and we trade it and use it and go around and kill each other for it and rob banks for it and go to jail for it and do. It controls our lives from the first moment we are born to the last moment as we die. Money controls our lives. Many famous people and smart people and businessmen of the past have been aware of this for a long time. I like this quote from Henry Ford, for example. He said, "It's well that the people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Henry Ford. Many people, many great leaders of the past have resisted money, have resisted the bankers. JFK tried to break America free from the Federal Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, stranglehold on the people of the United States. This is a quote 7 days from before he died. He says, "There is a plot in the country to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, I intend to expose this plot." 7 days later, he died. What you need to know is that JFK actually started to print what became known as the American or the United States note, which is not printed by the Federal Reserve Bank, and therefore taking the control away from the Fed. As soon as they assassinated him in Dallas in 1963, within 2 weeks or so, the Fed started to print the American money again, taking that control back. And this happened also with Abraham Lincoln, who 100 years before that started to print the greenback in the United States, making the American people free of all debt. And the greenback was printed by the government. It didn't belong to the Federal Bank of the Rothschild Empire. This was obviously not liked, and they lost control. This is why they shot him and got rid of him, because he didn't play their game. Who controls our governments? Who controls the bankers? Who controls what's going on here? Many people around the world call these the puppet masters. We don't know who they are because they don't want us to know who they are. Quote from Mayer Amschel Rothschild, the founding father of the Rothschild Empire in the 1700s. He says, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." And that's exactly what has become of the world and our countries. Because through the banking institutions, they control everything. Think about how money and the bankers control all the education systems, the research laboratories, how they control industry, the large corporations. Everything imaginable ultimately goes back to those who control the money. Follow the money and you'll see the root of evil and the root of control as it unfolds around us. Who controls the corporations? Once again, follow the money. Always leads back to the Rothschilds' banking empire. But unfortunately, in our legal systems, corporations have more rights than living, breathing human beings. Think about that. This is unimaginable that something like this could even shocked when they find out that every country in the world is registered as a corporation. It's not just countries. It's states, provinces, cities, everything imaginable. The roads that we drive on are registered as corporations. Everything in our lives has been incorporated around us while we carry on and distracted by computer games and the news and who's screwing who and who won what game and what final is being played. While we're being distracted by the entertainment and the programming on our televisions, our world around us has been stolen from us and incorporated. And this is how, through the legal system and the corporations that have more rights than living, breathing human beings, we the people have become slaves to the corporations every step of the way.
Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
What does the Matrix look like? Let me show you. Now, despite what you might be thinking, these two circles are not equal. I repeat, these two circles are not equal. One is in fact larger than the other. What I need you to do is determine which one that is. So, please raise your hand if you believe the blue circle is larger than the red. Alright. Please raise your hand if you believe the red circle is larger than the blue. Alright, very good. Now, before I said anything about these two circles, what was your first instinct? Equal, right? Because they look equal. And the reason why they look equal is because, in fact, they are equal. These two circles are identical. Yet I got just about every one of you to raise your hand and say that they're not. So what did we learn? That you can be manipulated like that to believe in something that goes against your natural instincts. Just imagine as a child you're taught that the blue circle is larger than the red. If you say it enough times, you convince yourself that's the truth. If you're told the lie enough times, it becomes part of your reality. And if enough people are taught that lie, that the blue circle is larger than the red, well, now it becomes part of the culture. And if that culture then passes that misinformation along to the next generation, well, now it becomes tradition.
The dates that they are giving us are incorrect. We used to have 13 months, 28 days, 1 day of rest, even in the Bible. So look, we have 13 lunar cycles, 28 days, 13 zodiac signs. Every turtle shell you'll find, 13 sections in the middle, and 28 notches along the side, all to keep us disconnected from these natural cycles of our realm. Listen to David Straight explain it more.
Our calendar is not quite right. We're supposed to have 13 months of 28 days, with one day, the day of resurrection, Easter, as a neutral day. That's our 365 days. We've actually got 13 constellations, not 12. This same calendar is very close to the Mayan calendar, but it's also very close to several ancient Sanskrit calendars. What does sept mean? 7. I thought that was the 9th month. What does oct mean? What does nov mean? What does dec mean? It's supposed to be the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th month. Jan is 11. Feb is 12. March is 13. April is our first month. Babies are born in the spring, the 1st of April, Easter. This is the start of our new year. It's the start of spring when the flowers start coming up, the grass starts coming up, the trees start leafing out, the babies are born. That's the first day. Our neutral day, day one. The day we rest and celebrate the resurrection, the new beginning, the beginning of Christ. April is month one. And then we lost a month in there. Where is it?
Connect is made between us and the realms above, but it gets even deeper. In 1953, the standard frequency of music was intentionally adjusted from 432 Hz to 440 Hz. The 440 Hz frequency is considered disharmonious and disruptive to our energy fields, while the 432 Hz frequency is believed to align with the Earth's natural resonance, promoting healing and awakening. Without the sound of bells and the constant exposure to modern music, society is being kept at a lower vibrational state, resulting in our connection to the divine being weakened.
Why did a WikiLeaks released email in 2016 involving Hillary Clinton say, quote, "I will be sacrificing a chicken in the backyard to Moloch"? Carthage was a city located in modern-day Tunisia, destroyed during the Third Punic War in 146 BC. The archaeologists quickly found tens of thousands of urns buried beneath the earth. The urns contained the bones and ashes of animals. Among the discoveries, the archaeologists also unearthed various artifacts with the inscription MLK. And thanks to hidden camera footage released to the public, a modern-day ritual involving Moloch happens yearly at the infamous site of Bohemian Grove. You see, Bohemian Grove is a camp retreat for the most elite people of the world. This includes celebrities, politicians, ultra-wealthy business people, and even U.S. presidents. The footage depicts a bizarre gathering around a wooden statue of an owl, the symbol of Bohemian Grove. Members stand around it, dressed in strange costumes, chanting and praying to the owl. Then the owl is set on fire with a torch as members chant and applaud amidst the blaze. There is now a debate online that this owl is supposed to symbolize Molech.
15-minute city thing. Cars, they are the epitome of individual liberty. Peterson actually has pointed this out.
I think there's two marks of tyranny right now. People who hate comedians, people who hate automobiles. Man, that's a line of war for me. It's like, keep your hands off my fucking car.
Yeah, right.
Prick. Yeah, well, you think about what a car stands for. It's like radical autonomy and privacy.
You see what happened in California recently? So first of all, in 2026, all vehicles made have to have a shutoff in America. That was a Biden initiative. Now by 2028, all vehicles in California that are speeding, this is working its way through. I imagine it will go through. If you're speeding, your car will beep at you, like as if you're not wearing your seatbelt. And if you think about that, the only way to employ that strategy is if you know where I am every moment. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the speed limit. The 15-minute cities, which Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal are all already stated as going to be a part of, they say 0 private car ownership is the goal by 2030, 0 kilograms of meat consumption, 3 items of clothing per person per year, and then also limiting people to 1 short-haul flight every 3 years. These initiatives, that's where they end up planning to go. That's not coming from conspiracy theorists. This is directly in their C40 initiatives, which you can find on their website.
Brought man the gift of fire. Prometheus. Who was Prometheus? Lucifer. There would be no society without fire. That's how it's represented in the ancient myths and in the mysteries. These people learned how to control others through the use of a hidden knowledge. This ability to keep that fire going was a technology that nobody else knew. By observing the fire, by keeping it going, by creating ceremonies around this fire, they became a mystery to the others. A mystery always holds sway over those who don't understand it. And the priesthood was born. No king ever existed without the permission of the priesthood. I don't care what religion you're talking about or what period of history you're talking about, it is the truth. The kings never had the power and don't to this day. Kings exist at the whim of the real power, which is the priesthood standing behind the throne.
TP toxicity study that was done by the United States government. It was released on November 1st, 2018. They did it on nocturnal mammals. They used 1G, 2G, and 3G phones. Okay? This is way before 5G. In those animals, they found humongous problems. You can look this study up on the internet. Every G causes a different resonance problem. Like 1G isn't equivalent to 5. 4 isn't equivalent to 5.
And you mean like different tuning fork issue?
Correct. Certain people have different mitochondrial haplotypes. We also have different skin types. Every single screen. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why we need Dan Huber's glasses? Because they have found through the programs that the government sponsored, at Tulane Neurosurgery and Neurology, it's called MK Ultra, that they were able to control people through light waves, wires in their head to figure out how they can control the behavior as monkeys. That's actually was done in a place close to where I went to medical school. I knew about all of these studies.
So we can be controlled by light waves?
No, not we can, we are.
We are.
Okay? Update your knowledge base. Why does every computer have a blue light screen? Why doesn't it come pre-loaded with Flux or Iris? Well, there's a reason for that. Do you know what the reason is? Because the blue light lowers your dopamine and melatonin level so that you become addicted. Who got that information first? Was it the CIA through the MK Ultra program? No, it wasn't. It was the mafia. You know how they got it? It's how they built Las Vegas. They put a city in a desert, in a geopathic stress zone, a water magnetism, a great light. Then what they did, they put casinos out there, blocked all the light, and put one-armed bandits in there that made nothing but blue light. Dopamine levels fell sooner.
There's a very sinister, frightening, interesting symbolism that has been imposed upon this country, and the people have no idea in the world what's going on. All goes back to the Phoenician Canaanite system, ancient Phoenicia, ancient Babylonian Sumeria.
Attention Americans, your money, your privacy, your future, all could be at risk with central bank digital currencies, or CBDC.
We've got some bad news. SWIFT, the payment messaging system, which is utilized by the majority of the global banks, have announced that they are setting up a CBDC platform that's coming out in 12 to 24 months.
CBDCs are the latest tool for central banker control, giving government bureaucrats and central bankers unrestricted access to your personal transactions and control over your money. Don't let them take away your financial privacy and independence that the use of cash provides.
I remember, I will share with you a small story. Many years ago, I was traveling with, who was at that time Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew, from Singapore to Beijing in his plane, and we talked about the difference of Western and Eastern philosophy. And he explained to me, look, you in the Western, based on the history, on enlightenment, you have a concept which protects the individual against the collective. We, based on Confucius, we have more concept which protects the collective against the individual. Today, particularly at times when the individual could have so much power, we have to find a way to harmonize those two concepts.
They're trying to put into place a digital transaction control grid, which will tell you what you can do with your money, when you can do it, where you can go. If they don't want you to be able to use your money more than 5 miles from your home, that's it. Your money will turn off 5 miles from your home. If they decide they want to double taxes, they just take it out of your account. You know, it's all taxation with absolutely zero representation. And the interesting thing about it, once they get the system into place, it won't even be, I believe it won't even be your national central bank that will control. It will be the Bank of International Settlements and the the global systems that will control.
Next one's going to be a little bit weird. You may even pause the video to want to Google this to say, this can't be right. In 1951, the U.S. enacted the Invention Secrecy Act. What is that? Allows the government to legally classify and keep certain inventions secret if deemed a threat to national economy or security. What could be a threat to national economy? If you're able to figure something out that's 220 miles per gallon, you think it affects the oil industry a little bit? Maybe. Inventions under a secrecy order cannot be discussed, exported, or sold outside of military channels. Violations of secrecy order can result in imprisonment for the inventor. Over 6,000 patents today are kept by the U.S. government in secret. They didn't allow the people to go out there and sell it. I wonder what those 6,000 patents are. A lot of people want to be like, when you become a president, I want to go to Area 51.
The U.S. government signed an agreement in 1954 with extraterrestrials, granting them the right to experiment on humans and cattle in exchange for technology. This agreement was known as the Grenada Treaty, and it is a well-documented event. The original terms for this treaty were that only a small number of humans would be abducted. They had to be returned to their original locations, and their memories had to be wiped. The aliens were supposed to submit a list of the individuals they were taking to Majestic 12, a government-overseeing committee. However, after a few years of this, it became clear that the aliens were taking far more humans than they had originally bargained for, which spawned the origins of the alien-human conflict that persists to this day.
Harvard scientists are saying that aliens may be living among us. In this scientific journal, the Harvard researchers list 4 different types of possibilities of aliens living among us. Let's get into it. The first type is human cryptoterrestrials, a technologically advanced ancient human civilization that was largely destroyed long ago, for example by a flood, but continue to exist in remnant form. This gets crazier as I go, stick with me. Second possibility is hominid or theropod cryptoterrestrials, a technologically advanced non-human civilization consisting of some terrestrial animal that evolved to live in stealth, aka underground. The paper suggests there could be an ape-like hominid descendant or descendants of unknown intelligent dinosaurs. So what are we talking here? Are we talking like Bigfoot and reptilians? Lizard people?
Sometimes they really are just conspiracy theories. Sometimes they really are a person that just can't think anymore because they distrust everything. But other times they're true. And I'm talking about this today because now everyone's got UFOs in the brain. And I just think it's weird, as I said earlier, the government suddenly wants us to have UFOs on the brain. What's behind that? Well, okay, my brain says to me, obviously it's got to be power.
It takes you to find me. Thank you very much. Let's go.
被追溯到说，出现每一张脸都可以对应说他的身份证，以及他所经过，比方说在过去1周我们回溯他的行经路程，我们也做了像人和车的匹配。那同时在人上匹配还包括亲属关系匹配，然后是你经常接触人员之间匹配。就是当摄像机布到或者我们传感器布到一定密度的时候，其实我们会经常知道你跟谁经常在一起。
Well, here we are then. I just got out of the car, close to the city centre, and for the purposes of this exercise, the plan is for me to start walking in the direction of the bus station. My image has already been flagged to the authorities as a suspect, and in theory, it should only be a matter of time.
有没有通过你？哎，对，就是不对，就是不对。
不是他对吧？ Right behind me, you can see just over my left shoulder there. Hello, guys. I've been expecting you. Maybe these guys aren't in on the joke. Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone. How are we going to do that? Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that
has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
So for all the people out there who don't believe in chemtrails or weather modification, I want you to head to geoengineeringmonitor.org and let me know what you think about all this. So this website has a map that you can scroll through of the entire world, showing all of the projects that they have going on and all of the areas that they are spraying chemicals into your air in order to modify the weather. And if you look along the side here, that entails all different kinds of things: greenhouse gas removal, solar radiation management, weather modification. So if you see here, we've got carbon capture, direct air capture, ocean fertilization, enhanced weather, artificial upwelling. So if we go down, we got solar radiation management, cloud thinning, microbubbles and sea foams, stratospheric aerosol injection. We've got canceled, completed, ongoing. Lets you know all the projects that are going on with that right now. Weather modification. Right there, we've got increased precipitation, reduced precipitation, so them just controlling rainfalls however they please. Messing with Mother Nature, that's always a good idea. And then other, my personal favorite. Algae projects, major research project, whatever that is, and other. Not disclosing what it could possibly be. But there you go.
In 1859, the Virgin Electric Age was razed, literally, to the ground, as the Carrington Event solar storm surged electric current through the planet that would not only set telegraph wires on fire, but would induce the beginning of the modern magnetic excursion of Earth. The Earth's field began shifting. The climate began warming. The magnetic field began weakening, the poles shifting faster and faster. It would be more than 100 years before we'd realize that the other planets were changing too. And we would wait just as long to learn that the stars in line with the center of the galaxy were performing record outburst activity, one after another, in a line, and were next. It would be 2020 before we learned that the sun's coronal magnetic fields were reacting, and the chemistry of its atmosphere was beginning to change, most notably in the helium. The changes we see from the ground are more due to Earth's changing magnetic field and its effect on the upper atmospheric lens through which we view the sun, such that the once yellow sun now looks more white at greater and greater angles of the day. I know many remember the look of the yellow sun. I'm just old enough to remember it looking white near the noon position and thinking, maybe it's just too bright to see the yellow properly way up there. First horseman, dressed in white, wearing a crown at the top of the sky. That takes us from 1859 to today. And the big question is, what happens next?
Man is about to get an eviction notice. They just don't know it. The earth is about to endure something, and this is not hopeful. This is not wishful thinking. This is not some tool of rhetoric, right? This is absolute. We're going to have a big problem with our magnetosphere. Just so that folks understand this, without the magnetosphere, we're going to be, many things will be set on fire. We're about to undergo a magnetosphere moment where our magnetosphere becomes quite chaotic. This is going to happen right before it totally goes away. So we'll have 10 days without a magnetosphere. Nothing facing the sun will survive. Not one soul better be caught outside.
Those chemical changes on the sun will begin to manifest through to the visible wavelengths as the second horseman arrives, and the civility of all who are left is challenged, if not outright stolen. This will test people's will, their character, and their faith. When the sun's atmosphere completely darkens, the upper corona and the sun's version of the Van Allen belts will be the only thing shining. It may just be the outer circles of the torus, as in the plasma discharge Z-pinch, or it may be some visible ring around the black sun, as one might envision its version of the Van Allen belts. The third horseman's scales of justice will tip and teeter to the sides of the sun above all. Then, when the light and solar wind energy overcomes its shell, through the dust and gas and plasma of the long-period recurrent solar micronova, we will find the final horseman in a familiar pale hue, but hell follows with him. The blast itself creates a titanic outburst of light across the spectrum, and cosmic rays following right on their heels. The light arrives in 8 minutes, but has the potential to burn the sun-facing region directly looking at the sun at that time. The high-energy proton cosmic ray storm that ensues will be an invisible component of the disaster, as if anyone could take their eyes away from what would be coming right at us at that time. These cosmic rays integrate with the Earth's magnetic field and may begin the turning over of the Earth via the full planet electromagnetic insult. But before long, the actual shell arrives, and it arrives with the smallest and most energetic parts impacting first, a mega CME shockwave that compresses the Earth's sun-facing fields while surging them, creating the arc discharge others call the thunderbolt of the gods. There should also be a discharge out the other side, and perhaps the poles as well. This is more than just a planetary-level lightning strike and discharge. It sucks the water where it wishes and triggers incredible tsunamis from that effect and from the seismicity induced by its effect on underground water, metal, and crystals like olivine, which translocate upon discharge. This outstanding attraction to current can disrupt atmospheric density equilibrium as well and depressurize parts of the world, sucking down stratospheric air, instantly freezing the surface, while frozen waters and glaciers and mountains of ice chunks from the modern poles could be cascading from their places into those same areas. The wind will enhance the tsunamis and storms, and all while something even more horrifying is happening below our feet. The volcanoes will begin to go off as the electromagnetic insult unlocks the low-velocity zone, induces through the large, low-shear velocity provinces, and triggers the kick of Earth's magnetic field through its reversal process. And as the world sways like a drunkard, tilting as Einstein, Cuvier, Deluc, and, according to Major White, how the Pentagon and U.S. CIA believe it will tilt, 90 degrees, back and forth each cycle, alternating to put the poles cyclically in the same places, but in between, in the transition, a disaster. As the tsunamis are rolling and the Earth is tilting, the heaviest aspects of the micronova shell arrive, the impactors. Some are asteroids pushed out of normal orbits, some are plasmic forms, cooled and congealed from the micronova shell itself as it travels through space. The sun has been hidden from Earth this entire time since the micronova eruption, and even after it begins to shine on us again, the dust from the nova, the volcanic aerosols, and the water vapor produced by the event will cloud out Earth's atmosphere and continue to rapidly cool the planet.
master designed every tool imaginable to destroy every facet of the enemy's creation. We failed because of the carpenter. He was the thorn in our side, our greatest threat. We thought if we could eliminate him, the world would be ours forever. We had no idea of the consequences. The cross was our greatest mistake.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! And these shields, boys!
The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.